And this is a tape of 20 September 1967, made on an island in the sea, and it is addressed to all staff and students of Scientology organizations. I am giving you this short talk because you might have wondered what I was doing. Rumor lines are not very reliable, to say the least, and in a world which is as wogged as this one, are not likely to even approach truth. I do not like to create a mystery with regard to our activities. You have heard mention of the Sea Org, the Sea Organization, and you are likely to hear other mentions of it as time goes on. This is in reality just another Scientology organization, with the difference that it handles extremely advanced work and materials, and its personnel are OTs. Its mission is to bring clears through the upper levels safely and certainly and with speed, and it also has the mission of getting in ethics. On Earth, it would be quite impossible to bring in a totality of Scientology technology without first bringing in ethics. We have learned that technology does not thrive in an area which is interbulated and which has many suppressives and factors which are hostile to the better side of life. We are, in organizations, making progress to the degree that they bring in good order inside the organization and in their immediate areas. Only then do we have technology effective and functioning. The only time that Scientology technology is ineffective is when it is not used or when it is altered considerably. To give you a little background history, a sort of Ron's journal, I have to tell you some of the things which have been going on in the last few years, of which you are not particularly well informed, I'm sure, but of which you have heard some vague rumor. On January the 22nd of 1963, the Food and Drug Administration made a raid with drawn guns on our organization in Washington, D.C., immediately after we had offered to then President Kennedy assistance in his national programs with the use of Scientology. His reply to this, apparently, was to order a raid on our organization. I determined at that time that organizations must carry on a line of defense and that I must accelerate the technology advance and wrap up the entire subject in a very short time. I have probably done something on the order of a century of research in the very few years since 1963 and can advise you now that I have completed any and all of the technology required from WOG to OT. In 1966, knowing that the world would not go on forever without war, and knowing that it might be very advisable for us to have all of our materials in a safe repository, I went down to Southern Africa in order to establish an area where this could be effected. There have been several parliamentary attacks upon us. Only one parliament, that of Victoria in Australia, ever took any action of any kind, and all other parliaments were incapable of bringing about any action, and one right after the other have faded away. It was vitally necessary that I isolate who it was on this planet who was attacking us. The organization, under the direction of Mary Sue, employed, and actually had employed earlier than I returned from Southern Africa, employed several professional intelligence agents who had long and successful professional backgrounds, and they looked into this matter for us, and the results of their activities, although still in progress, have told us all that we needed to know with regard to any enemy we had on this planet. Our enemies on this planet are less than 12 men. They are members of the Bank of England and other higher financial circles. They own and control newspaper chains, and they are, oddly enough, directors in all the mental health groups in the world which have sprung up. Now, these chaps are very interesting fellows. They have fantastically corrupt backgrounds, illegitimate children, government graft, a very unsavory lot. And they apparently, sometime in the rather distant past, had determined upon a course of action. Being in control of most of the gold supplies of the planet, they entered upon a program of bringing every government to bankruptcy and under their thumb, so that no government would be able to act politically without their permission. The rest of their apparent program was to use mental health, which is to say psychiatric electric shock and prefrontal lobotomy, to remove from their path any political dissenters. They were the people behind the Siberia bill, which almost passed the House of Representatives in the United States and did pass, if I remember rightly, the Senate, which gave the power to any governor of any state in the United States simply to pick up anyone on the street and send him to Alaska. We defeated this Siberia bill and many other mental health quote-unquote acts of this character, but never really before knew from whom they were coming.